Hello everybody, and happy Christmas Eve.
Happy Christmas, Jax.
I'm Luke,
And I'm Matt.
and today we're drinking this week's beer, which is a beer that we made, especially for you lovely people, to enjoy over Christmas time.
That's right. So this is our first ever Beer of the Week video. We've
done a few Beer of the Week videos where we've got the brewers to chat about the beers.
Yeah, but this is the first one where we're chatting about the beer.
Well, my mum's really enjoyed watching all the Advent.
You told me to get it.
The Advent videos, so I thought there might be a couple of people out there that would prefer to watch us talking about the beer of the week rather than just reading our emails and things.
I've got to try.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
So this is it's a beer from Small Gods, which is us. So all of the Small Gods beers until now have been collaboration beers, just working with various friends and collaborators. And this is one we just thought, well, we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We didn't need to collaborate with anyone, and we put together a very coconutty, cocoa-y big stout.
Yeah, so this is a chocolate coconut snowball stout. Kind of on the edge of imperial stout at 8.8%. And it is designed to emulate a classic Christmas dessert, which is the classic chocolate coconut snowball. So it comes in a series with our other Christmas beers that we released, that those of you who have enjoyed our Advent calendar will have already tried, which is our Christmas cake imperial stout and our Christmas pudding barley wine. But for this one, we toned it down a little in terms of the alcohol. So a little bit more sessionable at 8.8%.
I think a lot of people still think 8.8% is pretty high, but
they do.
Compared to the Moondog collaboration at 12.5%, Santa is no alcohol.
Yeah. So to make this, we used a whole bunch of desiccated coconut, which we laboriously tinctured in white rum. So we had a whole bags and bags, sacks and sacks of this dried up coconut that we put into big mesh bags and soaked in rum for about a week. We had so much coconut that we had to pull all that coconut out, squeeze all the rum out, and then put a whole batch more coconut back into that rum to really kind of amp up that coconut flavour.
And we've got some really high quality, 60% proof Caribbean white rum. So just this tincture by itself was just like the most amazing, much better, yeah. Just the most amazing turbo Malibu. It was so delicious. I almost just wanted to keep that and not put it in the beer.
I did a little test batch at home before we tinctured up for the big batch, and I do still have that at home that I sip on every now and then.
So pretty major coconut in there, and we also trialled a lot of different varieties of cocoa.
Yeah, so we used a single origin Dutch cocoa for this brew.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of cocoa in there. You can taste it, but it's quite funny that when you finish your glass, you just end up with some cocoa residue, like when you finished a cup of cocoa.
Yeah, if you rinse out the can, swirl it around, you'll get that's just pure cocoa. I poured into my glass there.
Pretty thick in there.
So if you haven't started it yet, actually give the can a bit of a roll around, just on the surface of your table, if you really want to amp up that chocolate, because we used so much chocolate in there that some of it will have settled out. So to get the biggest, chocolatiest experience, I'd do that.
And we used a good bit of vanilla in there.
Yep.
Because vanilla is the most delicious flavour, and it just works perfectly with the coconut, with the cocoa, and just the big malt bill in there.
Yeah.
So we put a lot of work into creating what would be sort of the perfect base for these flavours to sit on top of.
Yeah. So we used a lot of Vienna malt as our base, which is my personal preference for using in those big beers. Because it's a base malt that has a lot more character. It's kind of rich and nutty and biscuity. So building on top of that with dark chocolate malt, Eclipse wheat, a lot of oats. We had rolled oats and malted oats in there, which kind of really give this kind of rich, deep base for all that sweetness and those flavors to sit on. We used a diabetic's worth of lactose in there.
Yep.
So about a ridiculous amount of lactose just to really amp up that body and sweetness and the creaminess that you get from the beer. We're pretty stoked with how it came out.
Well, the intention for this beer was absolutely to have just a full-bodied liquid dessert. and it's a decadent beer. It's designed for Christmas time. Perhaps not when it's 30 degrees outside, so maybe you want to wait till after dark before cracking into this one. Obviously, we were maybe channeling Northern Hemisphere Christmas, but you can drink beers like this any time of year. And yeah, I think we succeeded in making just a pudding dessert of a beer.
Yeah, I think we did. And yeah, really happy with how that came out. And yeah, we're really excited to be doing more stuff by ourselves in the coming year as Small Gods. So
quite a few plans.
So for those of you who don't know, as Luke mentioned at the top of the episode, Small Gods is our brewery, and we've really only just got started. We have been, over the last few years, been having a lot of fun as Small Gods brewing the odd collaboration here and there, brewing interesting and weird styles, and working with some of our favourite people in the industry, and more recently outside of the industry with our Forbidden Fruit beer with Electroshock. But
this year I think we've released 12 or 13 beers.
13 beers this year.
Since May really.
Yeah.
So things have really ramped up for us, and yeah, people are into our beers, so we're spending a little bit more time creating some Small Gods beers.
Yeah, and I think we're saying that I think we're one of the few people who have created a brewery by accident, because we'll just start off with some fun side projects, and then
I wanted to make some interesting historical beers with our friends. So we started off with Double Vision Brewing. We did a beer with North End. So that was an oat mild. We did a Braunschweiger Mum, which is a beer that was made in 500 years.
Yeah.
And we just like drinking interesting stuff, and stuff that a lot of breweries, it's not really commercially viable to brew beers. Well, to brew beers like this, it's a super expensive beer to brew. It was a really laborious brew day. It's not just brewing a simple pale ale to result in the sort of body.
And just even like getting all that powdered cocoa to dissolve into that coconut rum tincture, which is how we added it to the beer. Just lots of laborious stirring and breaking up cocoa clumps to get it into a nice smooth slurry that we could pour into the beer and stuff like that.
It's a huge pain in the ass, yeah.
But to me, this beer represents the future of Small Gods in a way. This is us starting to go it alone, though obviously we are really excited and keen to continue collaborating with all of our great friends in the industry and doing those interesting and different things.
Yeah, if you lined up for 2022.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of beers scheduled in, some really exciting stuff on the horizon, and yeah, we're excited to continue to share that journey with you.
This week's music match, as it's Christmas,
Don't know if you can hear it.
is playing gently in the background, is Harry Belafonte's Caribbean Christmas, which works nicely with the Caribbean rum, coconutty flavours, and just the general chilled out, relaxing Christmas time.
Yeah, and as a food match, I recommend you have a Jamaican jerk chicken with Festival, which is like a Jamaican cornbread.
Yeah.
And a raspberry lamington.
Raspberry lamington, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you should drink it at about room temperature. Have it out
Cool.
of the fridge. Cool. Drink out.
Depends how warm your room is.
It does depend how warm your room is. So probably about starting out 8 to 10 degrees and letting it warm up from there. And obviously you should drink it out of a Small Gods glass. If you don't have a Small Gods glass, you can't get one. They're all sold out.
Yeah, they're pretty nice glasses though. It's the first time I've drunk out of one. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I've had all of these out of this now at home, so yeah, happy with that.
Well, Merry Christmas. Hope you all enjoyed this week's beer, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Cheers.